Here you're going to see me add some more extra details on the skin. We're going to add some more wrinkles. And I'm going to be using some alphas here. Maybe alpha 51 here. Let's go in maybe alpha 36. We get a smaller size for this. Solo that so we could only see the head. And going to just create a new layer here. And that layer, I'm going to call this one extra lines. So this is where we're going to have some new wrinkles to work with for that layer. And bring the brush size down. And for the stroke, let's bring it back to dots. And adjust the intensity to meet your needs. The higher your subdivision level, the longer it will take for you to undo something if you make a mistake. Just to be aware of that. So as I am doing these extra subtle wrinkles, I do have smaller brush size. So I'm just going over the side of the eye here so I could add some more of those indication of the stretching of the skin. So over time, of course, as you squint your eyes, as you make a lot of facial expressions, eye movements, you will build up a lot of those wrinkles as you get older. And you're going to see some stretching, some loose skin all around that area. And so I'm adding those subtle forms here for the wrinkles. So you can see here that these extra lines that I'm adding are a lot more fainter. It's very, very subtle compared to the other wrinkles that are already there. And this is just how the skin works, how the wrinkles work. You get some deeper wrinkles and then you get some wrinkles that are a little bit more subtle. And this is what I have here. And if I want these to be a little bit more deeper after I do this, I could always go back to my extra lines layer that I have created there and duplicate it. And that will further enhance the wrinkles that I have there. But for now, I think this is good. So I'm adding some directional wrinkles there, following the flow of the face. And here also by the side of his face. So and I'm putting these in the areas of the face where you really see those folds or where the fat accumulates, because those are the areas where you're gonna see a lot more skin deformation, and those are the areas that I'm adding these wrinkles on. Those areas of the face that really make a lot of either expressions, or those areas where like the ears here, the side of the ears where the ears connect to the face, so you're gonna see that too. Or areas of the face where there's like loose fat, you're gonna see these. Yeah, you see this area here for where the jaw connects to the neck. So areas of the body where there are going to be some articulation or expressions. So these extra lines that you add will really make your character look that more realistic. So to make things realistic, to make characters that are realistic, it all starts with, first of all, the sculpting. Getting the basic forms correct. Primary forms, the secondary forms, the micro forms, all those shapes that you need correct. And then onto the skin details, which will really make the character, bring it to life. I like to take my time most on the sculpting, really. So I think if from my experience, when I take my time on trying to make this as good as possible, then when it comes to texturing, it will be a lot easier. There's not going to be a lot of modifications that you really need for the texturing. Is if you get the sculpting right, if you sculpt it the best that you can, as realistic as possible. And here, all on the side of the lips, you need to add those wrinkles. Yeah, it's starting to really pop out. So definitely little details like this you can't ignore. You gotta drop those on there in the face. And I'm moving the ears here because I need it to be a little bit pointier, because that is Samuel Jackson. So as you are doing the skin details and you take a break from doing those primary forms, you took a break from doing those, then you look at it again, you will spot something else every time you go back to your artwork. It's inevitable. That's just how it is with art. There's always going to be something new that you will see, a new problem that you will see each and every day. They come back to it after a good night's sleep, and then you take a break, give your eyes a break, and then you come back with fresh eyes. You will see some new things you need to modify. Another thing I want to do here is I want to go to my pores here on the secondary pores that we have. Instead of putting as a positive number, we could put it on a negative number and see how that looks like. Negative 0.6. Okay, and just waiting. Okay, so I actually like how it made around the cheek area and also the nose. It looks a little bit like stubbles a little bit, so I like that better. And I think I'll put it in negative 0.7. So yeah, it takes some playing around with the layers also. Mess around with it, see if you like the positive number, negative number, mess around with the value. So I think this gives it more realistic look to it. And we also gotta fix this here. There's an issue there. And I am going to add another copy of the extra lines here, the extra details that we added here. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that. And now it's a little too much, and I'm just gonna set it to 0.2. Go. Okay, and I think that is probably 0.1. Let's see here. Actually, this I'll leave at 1, and then this one I'll set it to 0.1. Okay. Alright, good. And I could even merge these together. So I'm gonna go do that by clicking on this merge down button, so these will be combined. There you go. And now I am quite happy with the pores there, and except for this here under the lips, which I have to fix. And I'm just going to bake all the layers now, and it'll be easier for me to fix this here because I'm gonna have to go down to subdivision level to get this to work and to cure that a lot easier. I'm just gonna bake all the layers, so that's also gonna be easier for the computer, because for now I feel a little lag because I got a lot of layers here. So I'm just gonna bake them all right now. So I'm just gonna make them permanent. So once you bake them, that means you can't go back to each individual layers anymore. So if you know you want to go back to the layers later on, or if you're not too sure, just save another copy of your Z-tool. So if you want to go back and make some modifications, you can. But now I'm just gonna bake all. I'm okay with this. Bake all, and then I'm gonna just fix this here. Could bring down the subdivision level, okay, to probably subdivision 6, subdivision 5, and gonna smooth things out here. And then could add a little bit of clay. So it's going to be a lot easier to manipulate this if you don't have a bunch of layers, but then you smooth out all the layers there. So I'm gonna bring up the subdivision now, and just waiting for it to subdivide, and going to smooth this out. Okay, and that's no problem. I could go to my Alpha 07 and color spray, bring down the subdivision level. So just kind of adding the noise and the pores there. Alright, and drag and Alpha 36. What I could do here is go to subdivision, around subdivision 5, and I could add a little bit more lines. Okay, so this will make it have a little bit more shape to the lips. Yeah. And also here. So what's cool about this, you could always add some extra wrinkles wherever you need them. And this is a little bit strange here, so I'm just going to kind of smooth this out a bit. And I'm gonna add a little bit of pores, bring down the subdivision level, the intensity, and yeah, just subtle. Okay. It's really getting close to how I want it. Okay, I think we are definitely almost getting there. This looks more realistic. Sometimes it just takes some time to make the necessary changes to make it look as perfect as possible. Okay, back here, I'm going to go to the forehead, and I do want to crank up the lazy radius to 11, bring down the brush size, and what I'm going to do here on the forehead is I'm going to increase the intensity of the the wrinkles on the forehead because it's looking too subtle. And as I have mentioned to you guys before, when you do extract out the displacement map here later on to use it for the skin shader in Maya, you're going to see that it's not gonna be as enhanced as you see it on your sculpt, the details, the sculpting details. So we need to make sure that all the details that you want to show in the skin shader, that the intensity in ZBrush is a lot more cranked up, so that when you put it in the skin shader in Maya, those details will appear. So the sculpt should definitely really be enhanced. All those skin details should be more enhanced, because once you put it as a skin shader, it's not going to be as detailed as you see it on your sculpt. So yeah, I'm just deepening the wrinkles on the forehead. Now Samuel Jackson, he doesn't really have, like, especially for his age, I would say that his wrinkles are not that prominent in his forehead compared to other people that are around 70 years old. But it's still there. That's why I'm going over it again. And right now, I do want to fix the nose here. If you guys look, there's the area here that's too deep. So I think that Samuel Jackson's cartilage are not that prominent, the division in between the middle of his cartilage. And so I'm gonna just go ahead and fix that area. I'm gonna use the clay 2 brush to go ahead and add a clay in the middle there. And just smooth it out. So you can see that since I'm adding clay on top, that the pores that I have added there are no longer there and the tip of the nose there. But I will show you how I will go about to fix that later. Okay. But yeah, I mean, if you see any problems and you have already added the pores, then you could still fix them. You could fix those forms. You could go back to a lower subdivision level and go back and modify anything that you need to modify, but then you're gonna have to re-add those pores. And also in the lip area, I just have noticed that on the side of the lips here, it was just too thin. And so I'm using the flat brush to just I want to gonna stretch it out a bit, and it's gonna be the same on the other side of the lips here. So just adding a little bit more thickness, and then using the standard brush to just redefine the border of the lips here. And as you could see, the wrinkles on the lips are no longer showing on the side, so that also needs to be remedied later on. And same here, you see that the lips, I just think it was too thin, and so I am fixing that right now using the standard brush. So I want to record every single thing here for you guys. I don't want to do any skips, and so I am still using the same brushes, the same method of sculpting, but I just want to show you guys how I go about to fix my mistakes in case you guys run across a problem like this. So I use the flatten brush to just, flatten the side so that I could have more stretching out. I could make this a little thicker up, okay? And using the clay tubes also. Using the clay tubes and pushing the clay in for the lips here. Smoothing it out. Yeah, so if you guys are sculpting, and then of course you guys are gonna always see some issues, maybe after you get a break from it and you get fresh eyes, you're gonna see something. So even though after you have added the pores, you could always go back and fix things, but you just gotta add those pores again. And now I'm using the move brush so I could add more asymmetrical shapes here. So as you can see, what I've done is I lifted this area up a bit, then brought this down a bit. And it's still subtle asymmetrical look here. It's not exaggerated like that. There are going to be some characters, some celebrities where you could really see it's really noticeable their asymmetrical face, but Samuel Jackson, there is asymmetrical for him, but it's not as exaggerated. Or maybe if you're doing a character, UFC fighter or something, then you know that guy has been through a lot of fights, or maybe you might see some more asymmetrical forms on his face due to injuries or due to deformation done by him fighting and going through lots of wounds and bruises and bumps on the face. But yeah, here I am just making sure that there's a little more thickness on the earlobe and moving it a bit. So when I want to go back and fix the bigger forms, then I do like to bring down the subdivision to a lower value. And the good thing is if you are on a lower value and you just want to fix the basic shapes again, and you add some more volume on those basic forms, then there's really no need to worry about the pores. But when you are on a higher subdivision level, and let's say you're on higher subdivision level like 5, 6, or 7, and you use the clay tubes or standard brush and the smooth brush to modify while you're on that high resolution level, then that's when you have to definitely add the pores back again. And there you go. Here I am just using the clay tubes because right underneath the brow ridge there in the middle, it looks like it's a little too deep. Okay, so it's coming along. Yeah, I'm definitely liking the nose a lot better now. Definitely better. And now I'm gonna go to my layers here. And I want to create a brand new layer. And I want to go ahead. And also, as you can see that I did bake all my layers already that I previously have. Okay? And creating a new layer here because I do want to just start out from a clean slate because I want to go back and, you know, I'm gonna add back my displacement alphas. Remember the tertiary, secondary, micro displacement that we have prepared in Photoshop? I'm going to bring back the secondary displacement. One of the displacement for those, so I'm gonna go to the texturing XYZ folder here. So here, I'm gonna be using just one of them, the secondary displacement map, okay, the one that we prepared in Photoshop. I'm gonna use that to add back the pores on the nose and on the lips. So importing that. And going to flip vertical. Yes, there you are. Going to UV map. It's already 4K. And texture map here. Going to, let's see. Let's try new texture. Displacement map. For the morph target, let's store empty. Let's go ahead and make sure that we click on that so we could keep the original state of the sculpt right now and turn on displacement on. So this is the same thing that we have done previously when we first started adding the pores. And let's go ahead and choose our secondary alpha map. Okay, I think we need to mess around with the intensity of the displacement. I think I just need to crank down the intensity. Set the intensity to a negative value. There you go. Oh boy. A little too much. So negative 0.004. Probably a bit more. So negative 0.03, negative 0.01. So you want to play around with the value so you could see the pores. Okay. Apply displacement map now. And just wait for a bit as it's applying it. And then I'm gonna go to my layers. Actually, gonna go to morph target and I'm gonna click on switch. Yeah, let's go and switch that. So they'll go back to the original mesh, go into layers. And for this, I'm gonna go use the morph target brush right here. Bring down the intensity all the way to 7. And I'm gonna bring back the pores that I want to show. And that's obviously a little too much. Bring down the intensity some more. Okay, so right now it might be a little too much. So what I could do is after I add those pores that I need, where I have made those changes, I could go to my layers and just modify my layer value. Yeah, so don't worry right now if you see that his skin looks a little bit terrifying, but that will be all fixed just by adjusting the layers. Okay, so I'm just going back to those areas that I have modified and re-adding those wrinkles and the pores back. So the side of the lips, the nose, the forehead, those are the areas of the mesh that I have created some modifications. And so now I'm just re-adding those micro details, those secondary details. And same here. So now I'm going to turn off the record button. And I'm going to mess around with the value here because it's obviously to enhance. The pores are too much. Okay, so I set it to 0.1. 0.2 will be higher, better. Okay, so you could see that the pores and the wrinkles are back on the areas that I have modified, and the forehead, the nose, and the side of the lips. And maybe a little bit lower. There you go. And guys, that's how you add back those specific pores that you need. So now here, I do want to add some more variance on the skin details. If you guys check this photo out, see, make it bigger. So there's going to be some skin bumps. Some skin bumps here and there. So I do want to add those. And you're going to see so there's these irregularities on his face that you will see on Samuel Jackson. And on everybody, they have that. We have some irregularities on our face, those skin bumps. And that's what's going to make our skin a lot more interesting if we add those. So we could add more variance by adding those skin bumps. And I'm using the standard brush, and I'm using a soft brush alpha to create those skin bumps here. So for the brush alpha, you want to use a brush that's an alpha that has a circular shape with soft edge. I think between brush alpha 42 and alpha 47 would be good brushes for the skin bumps. So just adding those nice breaks on the face. Right on the side here also he has that. So observe your character and see where you could find those bumps. If you're probably doing a female character, since if you're doing a female character celebrity, then most likely you will see that they have a lot of makeup on, so those skin bumps will be very subtle. And maybe on some you probably don't even see them at all. But it's here definitely for Samuel Jackson. Okay, so that definitely looked better. Definitely looked better. It just gives it more irregularity to the face, some variance, variety.